Hey everybody, welcome back to K Job's Views. I am your host with the most, K Job. As always, we are going to like, comment, subscribe before we start this review. I'll give you a chance to do that. All right, cool, good. So thank you for joining me. This review I'm very excited about because it is a movie trilogy I've been waiting for. It's the trilogy I didn't know I needed. I was 8 years old in a hot ass Brooklyn house during the summer reading books and letting my imagination run wild. And those books were Fear Street books written by R.L. Stine. And Netflix has finally brought those book series to life. It involved a witch who cursed the land where she was like killed and hung as a witch by this family, the sheriff. And she curses all the land, and this curse follows the people on that land. And so they had named the street Fear Street after the witch Sarah Fear, spelled F-I-E-R, but Fear Street spelled F-E-A-R. Subsequent to that, there's always these murders always happening there. Netflix gives us 3 movies to cover this whole series, right? They give us 1994, 1978, and 1666. This makes sense because the book series, from what I remember, follows essentially those years. Of course, there was no 1994 year because we were just reading the books, like it was just present day. But now 1994 is so long ago. So you have to make a movie called 1994. So the first movie gives us really great 90s nostalgia. It sets up 1978. Off the top of my head, I recognize Carrie, Halloween, Amityville Horror. What else did I recognize? Obviously, the first Friday the 13th. And did I say Halloween? Halloween. This movie had so many elements from classic horror brought into it, which I thought was great. It still kept the storyline going in terms of the witch, and it made it very easy to put the two 1978 and 1994 together and see where we're going to go in the final movie. You get the intertwining of a family story, but it's not so much about the well, let's put it this way. The Fear Street Saga is supposed to be about a specific family. We start to see that family a lot more clearer and their role a lot more clearer in the second movie. Now, their reason for notoriety is noted in the first movie. The land, I forget what the land was originally called, but it got divided into Sunnyvale and Shadyside. And Shadyside seems to be, for lack of a better word, where the demographics are more urban. The people have lower income. And Sunnyvale is the opposite. Shadyside, of course, is where all the murders take place, and Sunnyvale is not. I think seeing that portray out now in 2021 is weird, right? Because it's like that's in the news. We all talk about how the system has segregated people, whether it be by race or income, and the level of treatment happening in those different communities. The same thing was happening in the 90s, same thing was happening in the 70s. All right, so let's get into 1666, the final conclusion of our Fear Street trilogy that brings us the final story, brings us what this is all about. So of course we get that, we get our final coup de grace, everything is right with the world, Shadyside is winning, Sunnyvale is back to mediocre or losing, and you know, the witch is gone because the witch wasn't a witch in the first place. She was a woman who got blamed for evil that a white man unleashed, you know? I mean, again, it just sounds so familiar. I wish I could just think of where I've heard stories where like other people are blamed for white people's misgivings. This is the craziest thing. It's like I read it or saw it or watched it or all 3. So long story short, R.L. Stine owes me nothing. Netflix owes me nothing. Thank you guys for giving me this trilogy. Thank you for giving me my childhood dreams in corporal form. I did still not care for the acting that much. I feel like they acted better in 1666 than they did in the 1990s. But again, I think in my head, I try to make this as like a motif for like, you know, 90s acting or 90s horror acting was terrible. So like that's why they were doing it. I'd like to think so, maybe. As always, thank you guys for checking me out. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and check out new content coming up on K Job's Views.